you ready to discover who you came here to be? Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. Human Design is a system and a tool that is here to empower you and show you your greatest potential. Come learn with us and discover who you really are. Hi friends, Krystle here. New year and new you, and boy, do we have some new tools for you to help you transform your life into the one you have always dreamed of. We have some new ways for you to connect with us outside of the show. So we have a free guide on tips and tricks to honoring your strategy and authority. We also have a language manual to your true self to help you understand the key terms in human design and how to apply them to reading your human design chart and also to your life. And we are so happy to announce doors are now open for the Cosmic Community, which is a no commitment or 5-month commitment package to connecting with us over in our private Facebook group. You will have the chance to connect with Leah and myself each month with our premium episodes through our Program Plus monthly forecast. There's also weekly aura energy updates, weekly tarot card pulls connected to a human design gate, monthly market shares for fellow entrepreneurs to share their work, and exclusive bonus content you will not be getting anywhere else from us. Come join the Cosmic Community to understand how to utilize the transits to your advantage and have a safe space to learn, grow, and connect. And we also have our children's class called Nurture Your Child Through Their Design. And our most popular classes are our variable mini classes, which are bite-sized, self-paced audios and guidebooks on the first 2 transformations. And if you want to stay connected with some education and love from us, join our email list and check out our website, which you can find that and every offer I just discussed down below in the show notes. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you over on our next episode. Welcome to the Human Design and Astro Club podcast. I'm Krystle.
And I'm Leah.
And this is the podcast you've been waiting for.
That was an extended version.
I almost flipped over my table, my desk here, doing that. I'm like such a third line. I like flew back.
We didn't discuss that we were going to do that, but we kind of did last week.
It went in a few different directions there. So if you're on YouTube, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
For that disaster. It is early morning where we are, and I am dressed like a lumberjack. I don't know.
You're ready to go for a hike in the woods.
Yeah. Well, I am going to work out after this. I have my Celsius, which is the best. I've been drinking Celsius. Here comes my channel of surrender. I've been drinking
Not sponsored. We would be sponsored.
I was already gonna say not sponsored. I've been drinking my Celsius since it came out. Like literally, it's like right as I saw it. Because I mean, the marketing on this drink. Hold on, let's do a little channel of surrender here. The marketing on this can is definitely, well, one, it is really geared for women. I mean, they advertise as essential energy accelerates metabolism. Which, I mean, men could be more also, but women are more concerned about their weight. We do because we're the baby carriers. Men can lose weight in like 5 seconds. Women, there's a little more of a
Yeah.
struggle, right?
Yeah.
And so I do think that this is definitely focused towards women, but obviously just people that are looking to, I guess we're going to put in air quotes, have a healthier lifestyle. Um, and it says burns body fat. Like, wow, that marketing right there. I was
Hmm.
like, huh,
Getcha.
they do get you. I will say, I mean, it's an energy drink. It works for me. I don't know about if it does. They used to have like some sort of, maybe it's on here. We don't need to get too much into this, but like how it works, there is a thing on here. Um, and like you can burn like they used to have on one of their older cans like that. It would burn like 100 calories or something per can or like something. I maybe not exactly
Just
that,
by
but it was
drinking it.
yeah, it was something like that they had on there. Maybe they had to take that off because I
Yeah, it
don't
sounds a
know.
little bit like false advertising. I just drink this and I lose calories.
You don't need to work out. You just drink a Celsius.
Yeah.
That's channel of surrender. You don't need to work out. Just drink a Celsius. Um,
New slogan.
that should be their slogan. But they do have people running, riding a bike, and then yoga. I don't know if I would drink this just to do yoga because I feel like that's the opposite of what you're trying to do when
Yeah,
you're
I don't
doing
need a lot of energy. Maybe Pilates or bar,
or
but
maybe like a power yoga or a hot yoga. You kind of do need a little
yeah,
more endurance.
yeah.
I with my undefined root, I cannot not drink something before working out. Like people think, oh, sacrals have all this energy or whatever, sacral beings. I have an undefined root. I have more energy in the morning, but I do need something to get me going.
Hmm.
So I either have to drink an energy drink or coffee
Yeah,
before I work out. I don't know
yeah,
about you.
definitely. Yeah. I've used pre-workout for, I don't know, like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
But since I've slowed down doing workouts, I just kind of, and I do them in the middle of the day. I used to work out at like 5 a.m. every day,
Oh God, yeah.
which is crazy for talk about like not getting enough sleep and forcing myself into a routine that worked most of the time, but not all the time. Then I was exhausted by one
Yeah. Well,
o'clock.
I don't know if you're supposed to be that consistent, like
No.
of like pushing yourself, be like, I have to be up at exactly this time every single day and do
Mhm.
this workout. Like maybe for some non-sacrals, that works for them. And or maybe they have a defined route that there's a little bit more, energy to burn off there.
Mhm.
Um, But for me, with an undefined root and being a sacral being, like as long as you give me something that's gonna like get me going, once my sacral's like, oh, we're doing this, then
Mhm.
I can sustain for like I was crazy. I like talk about yourself, you're being crazy. I used to work out 2 hours a day, 6 days a
I
week.
can't.
Well, we just had like a whole thing happen there.
My
Um,
phone started ringing
yeah,
and
but the screen turned
I saw
green,
that
I
it went
think.
green.
That was weird. We're gonna ignore that.
Sorry.
But
I used to
it's
work
okay.
out like 2 hours a day though. That's crazy. Like I can't
Yeah,
even.
yeah.
Mm-mm.
I mean, that's with being a sacral being. Like once my sacral's like, oh, we're doing this, we're going, then I can go. Like I could work out. I'm not saying I think I'd probably be on the floor after this, but I could work out if you like remove my children from the situation.
Yeah.
Um, like probably all day. Like I could be like a trainer or like someone that does like I used to be like maybe I should teach like spin classes or yoga or whatever. Like I could do that as long as I have that little energy buffer beforehand.
Yeah. I mean, a
Um
little bit of space in between each thing, but you could probably do it.
I don't even need space. No, I don't need space. I'm talking about I just someone needs to just give me an energy drink and then I can go for the rest of the day.
Oh my
But
gosh.
I used to work out 2 hours a day. I would run probably about 3 days a week, 6 miles each time. And I look back now and I'm just like, what what the fuck was your problem? Like, but then I wrote on our website. We have a little blog that I only have two posts, which I've honestly been having the last week. I've been wanting to write a blog post, but then I just don't have the time to do it. But I'm like, I really do want to write another one. But I wrote a blog post about my body. My unconscious sun is in gate 46, the love of the body. And I believe that our unconscious sun is kind of where we start. Like I had like, especially with being a generator and I'm here for mastery, I had to go through, and my 46 is in the third line. So I had to go through, especially before my Saturn return, a lot of trial and errors with my body. And my weight was like Oprah, like up and down, up and down. I was either overweight or underweight, or like it was just so bizarre, but mostly overweight. I was mostly overweight for a good part of my life. And I got made fun of and called fat a lot. And I used to say that that was like the worst thing you could say to me. And now I look back and I'm like, oh, I really don't fucking care what people think of what I look like anymore.
Mhm.
But I did make a blog post on um my whole body experience, I guess we should say.
Yep.
It's kind of dark, which, as some of you know, especially from like last week, I'm a little dark. My Mars is in Scorpio, so and I South Node's also in Scorpio, so it comes. I mean, you too. You got
Mhm.
there. We have a darkness to us, and it just is. And sometimes I think it's funny, but I don't know if other people.
I think that's we really get each other when those kind of things happen. We're like, yeah,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
understand.
like how I said, I'm just going to say it because I still think it's funny and hopefully no one's offended. But if you are, then apologies ahead of time. When I said that I would like to do for our cosmic community like excommunication, where we excommunicate you at the end of every month if you're only doing the monthly, just like for fun, like third line cut, like off with your head. Like I just thought it would be funny, but I'm like, that's probably not that funny. But it was just like a joke. Like I want you guys to stay. I don't want to excommunicate you.
Yeah.
I just thought it would be funny if we called it that. That's all.
You get the you get the axe.
You get the axe. Uh no, but yeah. So we just went in a lot of different directions. But yeah, that all started with because I'm working out after this. Yeah, so I've got my Celsius. Probably by the end of this conversation, I'm going to be really lively.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what I realized? I printed out a I used to use like workout calendars a lot because it would just help me know what like I was doing. And I hadn't used one in such a long time. I found one online and printed it out. And I told my husband, I'm like, hey, I got this new workout calendar. It's going to help me stay on track. He goes, yeah, like the calendar on the wall, the calendar on your phone, the calendar you carry around in your wallet, the calendar. And I was like, my inner vision needs
it
to
does.
see it. I need to see my schedule and it needs to be in multiple places and it has to be in different formats
Mm,
so that I can see what's happening because I can put my cleaning schedule in one calendar or the school calendar here, the lunch calendar here, my workout calendar here, our calendar, like I need to,
yeah.
and he's like, why do you need so many calendars? How can you can't not keep track of it? I'm like, I don't know. I just need to be able to visualize all of that. I feel like he would understand that because he's external. So I don't know.
It's a
I
little
can,
different.
it's a little different because
It is a little different because
he can
it's
see
like,
it all.
yeah, he can see it all in like he in the now, but for you that it's like a process for inner
Mm-hmm.
vision. It's
Mm-hmm.
going on, it's a cyclical, it's connected to the solar plexus, inner
Yeah.
vision. So it's like you have to maybe it's that you have to see it over and over in like different ways for like your
Yeah.
mind to be able to process it or
Yeah.
hold it or store it. It is a little similar for me with my tonal resonance too, being touch. Like I realized since finding out that I had tonal resonance touch that I really do for my body to like, this is connected to your body, like and if your body can hold and store, because it's also unconscious, it's like if it can hold and store that information in a certain way, it'll stay there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I notice for me that if all I have to do is either write it down or highlight it, and then I remember.
Yeah.
I don't even need to see it again after that. And so for a long time I wasn't writing things down and I couldn't remember things. And then when I realized, oh, wait a second,
Mm-hmm.
if you just like, so I had, that's why for me, for the beginning of this year, one of the goals that I have is that like, I'm also going to try to be a little more organized and keep track. So I bought a little planner that I could carry around with me.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to be helping, although there was a couple times I did write it in the wrong date. So that wasn't helpful.
That'll happen.
Yeah, I was like, wait, we're not we skipped ahead a week here. Um, but yeah, and then I also got another calendar that I haven't used that I wanted to be the calendar for us and to keep in my office and to like write on, because I also have a board, but I realized I don't like having to wipe it down every month and redo it. I'm like, that's too much
Yeah.
root work for me.
Yeah.
I'm like, you'd think that that's not a big deal, but it actually deters me.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess I can't use this. So then I got just a regular bigger calendar that I
Mm-hmm.
could just hang and flip it and just write.
It's nice to be able to see like months ahead, like maybe the next month. And with a whiteboard, you're just
That would
seeing
be
what's
inner
there.
vision. That's inner vision.
Yeah.
That is why Garrett
Mm-hmm.
doesn't get you, because you need to see ahead.
Yeah. And
Inner
he's like, well, we
vision,
just put it here. We just do the 1 month. Stop putting half the other month on
yeah,
here.
because
I'm like,
that's
no, I
what
need to see ahead.
he's outer vision. Outer vision is in the now. Inner vision is future,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what that is. That's so anyone that's like, you want to
Yeah.
know the difference. And that's what happens a lot. I've noticed for inner vision people is they really do see things. They get flashes of the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really fascinating. Like outer vision, they need to just know, they can just see clearly what's going on right now,
Yep.
externally right now. But inner vision, it's not even like people think, oh, like when I close my eyes. No, it's that you guys are able to go through this whole process before it even happens. Like you premonitions, that's inner
Mm-hmm.
vision. So yeah.
Yeah. And I'm touch cognition. So both like
Also
having
on
the
the solar plexus.
calendars, yeah, just like writing things down, putting it in a calendar somewhere. It's kind of like locks it all in. And I'm not perfect either. I forget stuff all the time, but I'm getting better now that I have my 75
Yeah.
calendars.
The thing is, and this is why I love human design, it's a logical system. If you know your process, that's all that then you can just follow it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a certain way, like it's like, you think of like a car, they have a certain way that the mechanics of that car that it operates, right? It's got a certain manual. You do this, then the car is going to do this, right? It's the same thing for our bodies, but no one gave us our manual when we were kids. Um, we didn't even know that they existed,
Mm-hmm.
our parents. So it's like if you know, then you can just like watch it and then you get confirmation, then all you have to do is just keep following that same thing and your life will be so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
My life has gotten so much easier. Like I also want to say thank you so much for everyone that wrote me last week for my breakdown. Um, that was embarrassing and I almost took it down like I don't know, 5 times. I was like, I'm not even telling Leah. I'm just taking it down myself. She doesn't need to know. Um, and then my higher self came in and said, no, there's people that need to see this for some reason. And so I got a lot of feedback on that. So I appreciate all the DMs that I got because that was helpful. I often think that I'm doing all of this alone because that's part of my learning with my core wound of the 40.4. And then having an open throat together, it's a catastrophe for me. It really is. And that was a lot of darkness that came up. That was all and it was actually worse. I actually recorded something else that I will not share. Um, Probably a few days before that, like probably a day or two after my EMDR session, because it all of like this is the craziest therapy I've ever been. I've never done anything like this before. And it literally, your darkest secrets, fears, everything just comes up to the surface. And what I've realized is I don't have to attach to it. I don't have, and this is like with being an open solar plexus, this is a learning for me. Like, I don't have to attach to it. I don't have to understand it. And I realized, and I already have been doing, is I can rewrite this. Like, my world now, my environment is very different than what it was in Florida. And I am building up a support system in my immediate environment. And I'm finding people to connect to that are more aligned to me and that resonate with me.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, this is already happening, but it's like sometimes we don't believe that that's happening because we've had this confirmation of this old storyline for so long that we think this is it. Well, this is what it's always going to be, or it'll just go back to that. This isn't really real what I'm seeing, where I'm getting
Mm-hmm.
actual support is what my mind was telling me. They're like, well, this isn't going to continue. They're going to leave you just like everybody else has left you. I'm like, you're going to fuck it up in some way. Um, but the truth is that I don't, that storyline that you guys were hearing last week is not really me anymore. And even if I don't have, like, I guess the support that, we always think, well, we should have more or whatever the mind makes up. And I, even just one person is what I told me. Even if I just have one person, I'm like, I have a beautiful family. I have my loving husband, my two boys. And I was like, if that's all that I'm supposed to have, which I have more, but I'm like, I say to myself, if that's all I'm supposed to have, then I'm satisfied with that. So it's like sometimes we have to bring us back to like a place of centeredness that we were talking about last week. And I had to go on a little ride for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll probably come up again. And I probably next week when I have my next session. So be prepared for another one of those. Hopefully it won't be that bad or happen. I have no idea. I told Leah yesterday because Leah's like, you haven't been talking to me. I know, fourth line. I was like, I even thought like, she's probably thinking some stuff, but I'm like, this is not, I'm like just in this space right now, and I can't communicate the
Yeah.
way that I was before. It's just not, I can't hold it.
Yeah. No, and I understood that too, because I know you called me, you were like, I don't hate you. I was like, no, I don't think that. And I also, I know like when you're going through that kind of stuff, even myself, like you just have to go inward and you have to do what you have to do and live your life in whatever capacity you can hold. And sometimes it's not a lot, and sometimes it's not a lot for anybody else because that's all you can really function on. And you've been busy anyway with your whole schedule. So I just thought I was like, I haven't gotten my hourly call from
I
Krystle yet
know.
this week. But I knew you've been,
Yeah.
working on stuff. So it's just like, when there's a difference between feeling like this person has something going on and they're working through it, and this person has something going on and I think it's about me.
Mm.
And I used to think that with people all the time, like they're not talking to me anymore. What did I do? Because I've had a lot of relationships in the past where people would, excuse me, they would have, we'd have relationship problems with friends, and they would just ultimately say, it was me, it was my fault. And they would twist all these stories and say, all this stuff. And I worried about that it was being my fault in the first place. And then they confirm it's my fault.
Mm.
And I'm like, well, fuck, like I'm an awful person. Like I'm never going to have friends. So like, when am in tune with myself and I know that, like my fears aren't always going, like my past fears with friends isn't always going to be the future, so I feel kind of
Exactly
the
what I was
same.
just saying there.
Exactly.
Like, even though I grew up in an environment where I didn't really have the proper support that
Hmm.
I needed, or the right relationships or friendships or groups, I don't have to live that life anymore. That
Exactly.
it's not, I'm
It's a
not
whole
even being
story.
shown that anymore in my immediate
Hmm.
environment. Online space, it's like, I feel like, a lot of times that world can take a little longer for it to catch up
Yeah.
in. Like, I'm noticing in my, first, when there's changes that happen with people, it's internal first, right?
Mhm.
And then it becomes external, like in your environment. And then maybe it'll spill over into, like, for us, like, we are obviously online a lot. So then it would spill over into that, which it's beginning to. And like, obviously, like, I'm finding more people on my fractal, our fractal. I've been getting a lot busier with my journey through HD business. And then with us,
Mhm.
we're transitioning into something else. So it's like things are obviously happening, but obviously things aren't always happening at the pace that we want them to happen. And like, especially with being a generator, there has to be a little bit of surrendering with that things are going at this steady pace, and sometimes I have to stop and take a breath, or sometimes I have to go back and find my keys that I lost,
Mhm.
and then start over in a different way or whatever, like, it's like we beat ourselves up that we're not progressing or moving on or changing or whatever, developing at a certain pace. But why does it have to be? Is a question that I keep asking myself. Why does it have to be? What do you like? Just so people can think that, like, you have more going on? Because it's really external when that's happening, I feel like.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So,
It's like a lot of like the society's conditioning,
yeah,
like you're always
that's all it is.
everyone's always climbing.
Yeah,
You're not doing anything if you're not climbing the ladder. You're not
exactly.
progressing if you haven't done, and it's so much different now.
Yeah. I'm like, so what if I'm not making six figs already,
Hmm.
like somebody that started their business like 6 months ago, and they're like, all of
Hmm.
us, those stories drive me mad, I just have to say.
Yeah.
And I know they drive most people mad, but I'm just like, that's probably not true. I want you to tell me all the businesses that failed before this happened, or
Yeah.
like what the prep work was before you actually became successful. Is it really 6 months of where you just started in 6 months ago and all of a sudden it took off? Or was
Right.
there something that happened before that? And then it was really the last 6 months that it was consistent of something. You know what I mean? I'm just
Exactly.
like, that's not, because like when I look at, so I've been doing Journey through HT for almost 3 years. It'll really be this summer. That was when I launched my website. It was actually at Lionsgate Portal 3 years
Hmm.
ago. Um, is when I launched my website, and I launched my Instagram a few months before that, but I was not consistent with it. And so it's like, so what are you beating yourself up on? That, I mean, you technically didn't, you started your Instagram, you didn't even know what you wanted to do, and then you're like, well, now I'm going to launch a website. And even then, it was like right when the pandemic was getting super crazy, and then also I moved, and there was so much happening for that whole year that I had started Journey through HD, or even a little bit after them. We had to buy a house. Um, and I'm just like, you weren't actually, I'm like, when you sit down and you look at everything, you weren't actually, this wasn't really a business, I guess, until honestly, we started doing it together. It was kind of like, I don't know, maybe that's where I was for a while. Because I didn't know like what it was going to turn into. And I guess I didn't have a full motive at that time because I didn't know what I really wanted. And I feel like as a defined heart, like I need to know that this is something that I want to commit to. My sacral needs to know that there's a consistency and a longevity that could happen. And I didn't know because there were so many other things happening in my life at that time. And I'm like, So you're beating yourself up that you're not in a certain place when you weren't even committed until like honestly a year or so in. So I'm just like, once you like pull things apart and you really see them for what they are, it's like we all need to like just give ourselves a little more credit, a little more understanding, a little more grace. And it's okay if I'm not, and I don't, it's not like my goal isn't some people's goals with you being online and content creators or businesses or whatever, like fame. I have no goal of that whatsoever. I just want to help people. That's my main goal is
Hmm.
to help people live the life they've always dreamed of, make it a little bit easier because being human is hard enough, but why does your life have to be? Um, and that's what I've been able to do for myself. And that's the gift I want to give to other people. I believe we come here each life with a mission. And it's like once we've accomplished parts of that, we then need to share. We need to pour in to the other so that we can grow and expand humanity. That's what I believe, but that's just my belief. So I don't know.
I love it.
Um,
It's a good mission statement for you.
it is. So if you're new here, welcome. This is a
Hi.
podcast for a bunch of weirdos. If you haven't noticed, we have been doing this for just a little over a year with this podcast, and it's really become like our baby. And we like to make human design practical, also tarot and astrology. There's definitely a common thread that runs through human design, astrology, and tarot. Leah's been doing such a beautiful job lately in our cosmic community, sharing tarot connected to a human design gate every week.
Mhm.
It's been just really fulfilling to watch the growth and also getting feedback from now we have, if you didn't know, we have a little community that we're building over on Facebook. I'm like, how do I say this? We decided that we wanted to take the program to the next level a few months ago. We do weekly energy updates. As you can see, that's what this week is. We do weekly energy updates, a weekly forecast through human design, astrology, and tarot. And we tell you all of the ways the energy is going to be moving throughout the week and how to capture it, how to utilize it, what does it look like. And so we decided to take that to the next level and we created the program plus. And so that's our monthly forecast where we go through all the major players of the month and we talk about when's a good day to work, when's a good day to rest, what's going on in certain aspects of our life, how to make it personalized. That's been a really fun thing to make it personalized. And so, and just to make the most out of your life, like the transits are here to support us. If you did not know, I feel like people are kind of just like wishy-washy with the transits. They don't even know what to do with them. I know what to fucking do with them. Okay.
It does.
I really do. It's like kind of creepy.
Terrifying.
At this point, it's getting creepier the more that I learn and discover and grow.
Mhm.
But if you didn't know, I worked at the Kabbalah Center for 3.5 years, and that's where I learned about astrology. And I learned how these aspects in astrology are affecting us on a personal level and a collective level. And so then I expanded out into that when I learned human design and I realized, oh, there's more to this than just astrology. The human design gates are also moving through the transits too and giving an extra emphasis and an extra focus on what exactly is happening on a second by second, minute by minute, week by week, or day by day, week by week, month by month, year by year. Like there's things moving, and so what happens is when they're moving through the planets, they're also moving through us. And so we decided to take the program plus to the next level. I'm a generator, so we're going to keep building here. Okay. We start somewhere and then we just keep growing and it gets better. And so we're like, you know what? There seems a little bit of a detachment to the program plus, and people still need a little bit more guidance, I guess, is what we were realizing. Because I would get DMs about stuff or people would be like, oh wow, that really confirmed this and this for me for this month. And I was like, well, why aren't we talking about it? Like there's no place to really talk about it. So I said to Leah, we had our membership this last year. We had a membership for our variable classes, and then also a support group where we talked about some other things with human design related. And so that ended this last month. And so I was like, why don't we just like kind of take everything we've been doing and put it into a group? And so the easiest place we realized was Facebook, because Facebook, I'm sorry. I'm not a just gonna say I'm not the biggest fan of Facebook. None of us are. I don't know. But their groups, they got it down. They
They
got it
do.
down. I
There's
can't.
nothing like it.
It's so organized. It's so easy for people to find things between
Mhm.
hashtags, pinning things. I also didn't realize when you made events, you can also like start little conversations. Like
Yeah.
we did a live full moon. So we're doing a whole bunch of stuff in this group. It's like I didn't even realize all the things we were gonna do. I was like, this is just we'll fucking figure it out. So fine. I'm like, we'll fucking figure it out.
It's been
But
fun.
so we decided, we're going to try to do some lives with the new moons, the full moons, or certain events, whatever. And so we did a live for the last full moon. And I didn't know that when I scheduled it that you could like start a little side chat. So people started telling all the things that they're releasing for the full moon in the little chat. And I was like, oh, that's so nice
It was
that like
nice.
we could have all these little like segmented conversations, and people are feeling what I feel. And like you guys can tell me that are in the cosmic community right now, what I'm seeing is people are getting very fulfilled and being inspired by themselves, being inspired by other people. People are actually supporting each other.
Mhm.
We're each week we talk about the gates that are in transit that week, like we do on here, but we go in a little bit more depth. Like I do, it's almost like I feel like I'm doing like little mini readings. Like people drop, I'm like, oh, do you have the gate that's in transit this week for the sun, or do you have it in the earth? And I'm like, let us know in the comments. And then we talk about how it's more personalized for them if they do have that gate, or if they do have that full channel, or they have the opposing end of that hanging gate, which gives them the full channel for that week. And so it's been opening people's minds on, oh, this is really happening in my life. Oh, I can really like almost like ride the wave of that transit for that week. Like, for example, yesterday, this is also something that I want to continue to talk about in the group. Yesterday, I made a post, which I highly recommend going to read it because it was a really good post on how to know who's for you and who's not in human design. And it's connected to your motivation if you didn't know. And so I had this thought actually right before I started working out. Working out really helps the juices flow for me as a sacral being. And so I was getting ready to work out, and all of a sudden I had this epiphany. And it was because we had the channel of curiosity come into transit right at that time, and it was going into the sixth line, which sixth line, and this is something that I told the cosmic community, and also if you join our group for the month of February, you'll get this too. I'm going to go through all the lines of the day and what that looks like in the collective, and how you can also use that in your life and in your business. I've been doing it, and that's what's actually been growing my business, is using the lines of the day. So like, I don't even know what we're in right now as we're talking, but like let's say it's like yesterday was a fourth line day. So I guess it's a fifth line day today. Actually, I just realized. So yesterday was a fourth line day, and fourth line days are really great to actually create content or go connect, go do a live, make a post that is engaging. You want to connect with your network, right? Just because you're not a fourth line doesn't mean you can't use it when it's in transit. That's what
Right.
I'm saying. Use what's happening now, and you'll
Mhm.
have access to it. And so I said, oh, it's a fourth line day. Um, the channel of curiosity, which I don't have any access to the throat or the ajna. Mine's undefined ajna, open throat. So I don't have that kind of consistent access, but I felt it. I felt it come in. And just as I was feeling it come in, I was like, let me go see what's going on in the transits. And I was like, oh shit, the channel of curiosity is here. It's in my head. I'm going to use that transit to my advantage. I'm going to write this killer post, and then it's going to help other people. And that's exactly what it did. I got a lot of great feedback. I was like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm undefined Asha. I was like, I don't know. I'm not trying to create certainty here. I just want people to experiment with their human design in maybe a different way and be inspired by something maybe they didn't see. And so a lot of people told me that really helped them connect a lot of dots for themselves. And that's all I'm here for, is to help people connect dots. Because people don't, and I'm just going to say it, and I'm not saying everybody, but people really don't make human design practical. There's just a lot of talk. There's a lot of, education, or mostly a lot of fluff. I'm going to say it. I'm fucking tired of the fluff. I'm tired of the fluff. If you're a generator, this is what you're going to do today, or, just ignite your sacral and live the life. I'm like, enough. Like, it's fun for a little bit. Like, I like making our little memes or whatever, but like people that dedicate, and maybe that's what they're here to do, I don't know, like dedicate their post to just like, just giving like, encouragement, I guess is what I would call it. It's nice, but it's not really helpful. It's not making anything practical that they can then use in their everyday life, or like begin to experiment with it. People don't even know where to start with their human design experiment. And I'm like, give people something to hold. Like, I try to make it practical. Earth, I'm rising Capricorn, like give them something to hold that they can try out. And so I feel like that's what we do. And that's something that we've been doing more in the cosmic community, which doors will open on February 1st, by the way. Definitely join us if you're interested in learning how to use the transits in your everyday life, personalize them, understand what's happening in the collective, understand what's happening with your family. And then also, we're talking about other parts of human design in there as well. And Leah's doing tarot polls connected to a human design gate every week that makes it more practical. It makes you understand the gate a little bit more, especially if you are familiar with tarot, or it gives you a visual, an inner vision. Like, it gives you a visual of what this energy actually could look like. Like, when you pull a card and you can visualize the card and the energy of that card, and then you can associate it to a gate, it just makes it more practical. And that's what I feel like we're here to do. Make your life more practical, easier. I feel like we're like a lifestyle, human design centered, I don't know, business. I don't know what to call it. I feel like we're lifestyle. I'm not just one certain niche. Like, if you're looking for romantic partnerships, also really good with that. I have been doing more sessions and readings with people in relation to business. It seems to be what's I'm being called to do right now. And I'm just like, that's fine, because I have the channel of surrender. I'm even helping a local business in my community upgrade their business through human design. So it's just been a really fun ride lately. And I'll say that if you really want to take your life to the next level, you really want support and understanding of what human design is, and have a deeper understanding of the transits, join the cosmic community in February. You will not be disappointed. There is not one person in that group that is disappointed. I hope you guys, if you're listening to this right now, the ones that are doing the monthly, that you'll just continue to come back every month. And for the ones that have the package, thank you so much for sticking it out for 5 months. We're excited to have you.
Yeah.
What do you have to say about that? You said to me yesterday, which I already knew, because you're a fourth line in markets, that you feel more fulfilled with creating this group.
Yeah, I mean, I used to do groups like consistently. I had a daily check-in where it was more of a requirement to check in on what you were doing, like workouts and nutrition and that kind of stuff. So I do miss having like the people to talk to, like the community. My fourth line is very much loving watching people like connect with each other, the comments in the threads, and like having a post in there. It's not going to be every single day, but whenever we can, and just connecting with people and seeing how they're using the information that we're giving them and applying it to their life. Like, it just makes things a lot easier when you can say, oh, well, I have this in this planet and someone else has it in a different planet. And then you can see how they look a little bit different, but they're still a little bit the same, or, the different flavor that it will pick up. And really just connecting with other people. Because I mean, I don't have a huge network of people around here outside of just friendships. Like I don't have a big business relationship with anybody. But I do love having connections with people online. And I think it just, it doesn't even matter where you are in the world. It just is really great to connect with other people. I've always loved making those kind of connections and not having any sort of like obligation to participate every single day
Yeah.
makes it so much easier because I liked participating every day, but I know how hard it was for a lot of people. And
The
now
open
knowing human
undefined
design,
hearts.
like, yeah, the undefined hearts, there's so many of them out there. Like, they literally could not go in there and post or a manifester. Like, you can't make them go in there and do anything. Like, now you realize that there's so much more to somebody, and it takes you out of the box of having to be a certain thing where you can just see the other person and say, this is you and this is how you're going to show up, and that's okay, and I accept you for that, and it's fine. We're not making anybody participate or do anything if they don't want to. It's simply
No.
there for people to connect and
Yeah.
create community.
You can just observe, like for
Mm-hmm.
people that some people might go in, they just want the program plus for that month
Yep.
and just kind of like look around, and or maybe they're new. Like I know there's some new people to transits. They're just trying to kind of like get the an understanding, and they're like, I don't
Yeah.
really know. And like they're new to human design too. I don't really know that much. So that's okay.
Yep.
There's everyone's on a different level in this group, but we're all here together supporting each other. And
Yeah.
that's all that matters. So if this is something that interests you, it's only 23 for an entire month. You get, I mean, I'm over giving in this group. Like I'm giving like personalized mini
Yeah.
readings every day, every week, depending on how often we make these posts. Um, but people are feeling satisfied is what I'm gathering. We'll talk about them if we're able to share some of the comments they've made and shares they've made, so that you guys can get a little bit more feedback on that for people that need a little more information to make that sort of decision for like emotionals or reflectors or people that are first lines or open heads. You might need a little more information.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll check with them if we're allowed to share some of their beautiful shares that they've said to us. But I would love to, because I do want to build this group. I do want to build a huge community of supportive people that are individual, but also need a sense of belonging. That's kind of what I need. So this is, and like I've been saying, this has been a very healing, um, new, I guess, endeavor for us, and especially for me, because I'm kitchen's environment and I love getting people together. Like I feel like I'm gathering people into this space to alchemize their energy. We're
Yeah.
transforming each other and we're helping each other manifest. Like we're gonna do a whole this weekend, we're gonna do a new moon little ritual. And then we're also going to do, because we're in the past, guys. And we're also going to do for the Human Design New Year. We're going to do a whole little ritual. And I decided we should do a small little vision board. And you'll get access to all of the past stuff that we've done, aside from the program plus will be archived every month. Just to be respectful of our all of the work we put in for that month, and then all the people that are continuing to show up, that we're not just giving it to everybody. It's just I like to try to be as fair as possible. So that stuff will be archived, but all the posts that we've made, all of Leah's tarot polls connected to human design gates, every post that I make every week for all of the our aura energy updates, those will all remain there for you to um look at and keep for yourself as well if you would like. Um, so yeah, February 1st, doors open. Join us. We
First
will
through the third,
the
correct?
third. Yes, we've shortened the window of when people can enter just to make it easier. It was getting a little complicated with last month's, and also
Yeah.
it's just a little too long. We realized, so we've shortened the window. You'll have from February 1st to February 3rd to join, either for 1 month for 23.23, or you can purchase a package of 4, get one free for 92.92. And people have said that that is an incredible deal to us. They're like, wow, this is an incredible deal that I'm
Yeah.
getting for this, because it's less than a reading. that you'll get from me, and you get a
Mm-hmm.
full 5 months where I'm going to be feeding you. Like
All up in there.
I'm going to be feeding you. You're going to be very full at the end of the 5 months of information. Um, so this week is a little bit of not as much going on. Last week it was like back to back to back.
Everything.
We had forward movement, right? We had Mercury go direct, we had Uranus go direct. We had the new moon Aquarius. Now we're in Aquarius season. So Leah probably is going to feel really good about that. And then we had the human design new year. So we're this month that we're entering into February, we're almost there. It's going to be a blur. Like it's going to fly by because Jupiter is in Aries right now. It's also just moved into what is it, gate 17. So, and I find that very interesting because we have a lot of mental focus for this next month. If you think about it, we got Aquarius, which is all about higher, like the innovation, higher mind, right? It's an air sign, right? Air signs chatterboxes, right? You guys got a lot to say. And then we have the North Node in gate 24, the returning. And that's also a mental focus, right? And then we have now Jupiter, which is the biggest planet, expanding our consciousness with that gate 17, trying to find patterns. There's a lot of pattern finding that's going to be happening for the next month. We are going to move into new nodes soon in February. I forget the exact date, but we'll let you guys know there. And we'll definitely let you guys know way more in detail in the cosmic community. So I always think it's important that when the nodes switch, like you got to know what's going on because it's a huge shift that happens internally for us and then collectively for the group because it becomes a new almost like a new level is what I look at it as. I've said this to you guys before. I look at we're in a game. This is a game. I'm also power view. So this is really good for me to look at it through this lens. We're in a game. Each of the centers, and also if you understand the Kabbalah tree of life, it's a path to ascension. That's what the Kabbalah tree of life actually is. And again, I will make a whole thing on this. We have so much going on with us and then me personally that I haven't had time to do any sort of like real free content that I want to give education on, which I do want to give more education on Kabbalah because I haven't found one person in the human design community that actually knows what the Kabbalah tree of life actually is. And if you do know somebody, please tell me. Someone tell me. I have not met them yet. But we're in this game. And so I look at it as every time we get a new nodal axis come into the game, that we have an up level that happens. We are releasing an old way through the south node, and we are discovering a new growth pattern in the north node. And so every time the gate switch, which is every few months, the gate switch change into a new nodal axis, and it's like what every two-ish and a half-ish years that we get a new from oh my gosh, sorry, words right now.
Like a sign.
The signs change. There we go. I'm like such an easy word. We don't have it for some reason. The signs change. Like we are this year, we're moving into a new axis of Libra and Aries. So there's a lot, and like this year is a really big focus on our ego. I'd say that's another key word for 2023 is ego. And there will be a lot of, I think, ego deaths happening. I feel like last week was one of them for me. So definitely watch yourself and how you're shifting. And then also Libra is also connected to relationships and trying to find harmony and balance in our relationships. They're really relationship focused people. If you know any Libras. So that's really going to be the new upgrade that we're getting this year. It's a transition up because we're leaving the north node of Taurus and a south node of Scorpio as well, but we're in transition of for half the year. So it's going to be a little back and forth movement with all of that. But this week there's not a lot happening, so we'll just dive in. So we start this week in a brand new energy as we just had the Human Design New Year and the Lunar New Year. That's been all about a pressure to feel. That's what happens every time. I'm gonna just say every time Gate 41 enters the cycle as we enter into a new year, that's when the new year actually starts. Like we've been kind of feeling like, I'm not quite ready. We also had a bunch of retrogrades. And it's really like, you're going to feel this. You're going to feel this now. You're going to feel this forward momentum because that's what Gate 41 does. It's a pressure to feel. Okay. So a hunger that needs to be fed. I have Gate 41. I'm always hungry. Okay. So this is a hunger that needs to be fed. This is our focus at the beginning of the week. How do I want to be fed? Should be a question that we're asking ourselves. And if you didn't do a little ritual for the new year, for the Human Design New Year, there's still definitely time as this energy is still active at the beginning of the week. So if you haven't done a ritual or you're not in our cosmic community that you did one with us, then maybe this is an invitation for you to do something this week to set the motion of where you want to go for this year. And so what's grounding us is our influence and how once we've initiated into this next chapter of life, we can lead from a completely new expression. How can you take action and lead from a heart-centered place is a big question to ask yourself at the beginning of this week. This is referring to Monday. Until like towards the end of the week, we're going to shift again to a new program. So there could be even a sense of pressure with having uncertainty on your feelings of when or how to take action. There's also going to be an emotional surge happening for the majority of the week as well. So for all the open, undefined solar plexus, and this is connecting to my hanging gate with this. So I'm definitely going to be feeling this directly. If you have a hanging gate, I'll tell you something. I'll give you a little trick with the transits. If you have a hanging gate that's going to then connect to an aspect in the transits that's going to give you that full frequency, that full channel, you're going to feel it more directly, personally. Okay. There's a deeper learning that's happening if it's a hanging gate. Okay. And sometimes it could even be traumatizing. And that's why I think it's important for people to have a deeper understanding of how the transits are actually happening to us on a personal level, because then you can surrender to it. You can accept it. You can allow it. You can use it. I'm going to be using this next week because then I'm like, I feel like I love doing these EMDR sessions when there's an emotional channel. And this is directly affecting me for this one. So yeah, I'm going to use it to bring up a bunch of shit that I don't understand. It's going to give me a little bit more clarity because it's happening directly to me. Okay. So this will be a time to take responsibility for our feelings. As I was just saying, this is a time to take responsibility for our feelings. This is a pressure to feel is what this energy is going to be like. So on Friday, the 27th, we gain a new focus. Okay. And this is going to be a focus on our approach. So now that we've been focusing on what we want to bring into the world, we are then being asked, how is this going to serve the community this new year? How is this going to serve our family this year? How can this energy bring into this new year be a driving force to fuel and benefit the community? And we're being grounded in our privacy. There might need to be an internal look towards the end of this week on old stories. That's also kind of like reframing or rewriting our stories has been a big theme at the beginning of this year, and also going to be going through the year because there's going to be a lot of Aquarius energy coming up this year. So there is going to be a rewriting of old stories this year, but specifically the beginning of this year should be a focus for you. Okay. So creating a new story and moving through roadblocks was really a big theme for last week. But this week is saying, I remember now. I remember. I remember all of these past patterns, the South Node is saying. And how can we expand on this and share these experiences? Allow yourself to go inward to your own expression and see what you remember. Share these experiences with someone that you trust during this time, or just let it out. Whatever feels good. Or maybe you need a journal. Good week to journal. Good week to journal. Good week to go inward. A good week to reflect on where you want this year to go now that we've entered really into the new year. So that's pretty much what's going on. It's not a whole lot, but there's always something. So that's how you can kind of work with this week.
I mean, I can't even describe how weird. I can't even, like, there's not even a good word. Weird and also in line is how the tarot seems to be playing out lately. So I'm just going to repeat everything you said, basically. I got the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is about limitations and anxiety about things. What's eating you up inside? What's been bothering you? There's a lot of dreams and expressive dreams and vivid, maybe things you're visualizing. What limitations have you been putting on yourself? We talked about limitations last week, and that could still be coming up this week. There might still be, I mean, you see all the swords around them. You bound yourself up, like you're tying yourself up and you're holding yourself back, or you're trying to unravel all of the different things that are going on in your life. And sometimes the more we push it away, the tighter it gets. The more we try and, like, brush it under the rug, the worse that dust bunny becomes, the worse all of the, the things that we've been hanging on to can become if we don't sit there and address it. And ultimately, we are the ones in control of what's going on, all of the limitations we put on ourselves. The picture in the card, usually the hands behind the back will be free. And so you have the ability to take those shackles off. You have the ability to take your blindfold off. The blindfold could also be you're looking within. You're taking time to see, what is it that I need to really address that has been coming up. Last week, we talked about a lot of these things. What came up last week, and how can you address it this week? A journal, talk to somebody, everything that Krystle just said, rewind and go listen to it. This is just a confirmation of that. And, what is it that's really been holding you back, and what negative thoughts are coming up? Or even, are there still limitations that you're seeing, and how can you work through those, find somebody to help you work through that?
Well, thoughts and feelings, people don't realize this. Thoughts and feelings there is a deep connection there where we have to associate, especially this is very Aquarius, we have to associate these thoughts with a feeling and make them into, a lot of times, more than they even are, or a way for us to try to intellectualize our feelings. We do a lot, especially if you have your moon in an air sign. You're probably really good at that. And sometimes, and the truth is feelings are just emotions that are energy in motion. That's it. We are here for the human experience. And that's, we were born to forget. We forget that we are here to just go through the ups and downs of life, which I question what that's actually going to look like. I'm going to go into the future for a second here. What is that going to look like when the motor gets turned off after 2027? Obviously it's not going to just directly get turned off. And I don't even know if we'll be able to experience we're definitely not going to experience the fullness of that, but how much are we going to get to see? I guess is the question that we're all kind of asking the human design community that is watching 2027. I'm like, how much are we going to actually see? But we are changing right now. On a cellular level, we can feel it. All of what's happened for the last 3 years has been a shift in humanity. And it's really asking us to feel what is going on internally and not attached to it. Like with the blindfold, like in the swords, it's like we get so stuck internally that we forget that if we just take the blindfold off, there's actually more happening in our life than we can even realize. And those daggers are meant to grow us. It is through challenges that we can experience growth. We cannot experience growth without friction. That's why there's so much contradiction in our charts. Like, I'm like, how can I be a sacral and a defined heart, have all this consistency, have all this energy, but I have a completely open throat? You know, it's like you you have to learn how to mutate and move with the energies and the frequencies instead of trying to get them to keep you down.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we're kind of learning right now.
Absolutely. So I guess I remembered to pull a second card this week. It's called Dance with Life. And I feel like this might be a way to kind of get out of that stuckness.
Yeah, dancing definitely does that.
Dancing, music, anything
Movement.
moving your body, those can all get you out of the stuck, or help you take the first step to get out of the stuck. It might not necessarily bring you all the way out, but
Yeah.
it helps. So I'm going to read from the book. Okay. Life is always moving. If you resist this ever changing flow, your energy will become stagnant and you will fall out of flow with the universe. The universe has a mysterious, intelligent force with a natural rhythmic beat, which governs all of life. One of the best ways to shift your energy, frequency, and vibration is to put on some music and dance along with it. When we dance unrestrained, our spirit takes over, and with each new bop, sway, and kick, we are rocked back into harmony with the rest of life. Get unstuck by doing something that shifts your vibration. Put on some music, dance unrestrained, and fall into the frequency of life. In doing so, your body will begin to learn how to be moved by your intuition, which is connected with this systemic beat. If dancing isn't your thing, then simply do something that you would not usually do to shift the energy. You cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it, and you cannot attract a different experience without changing your energy first. It's time to shift things up and find a way to dance along with the beat of life.
Yeah. Dance along with the beat of life. That's what I feel like that's very sacral right there.
Mm-hmm.
But the non-sacrals need to do it too. Sometimes
Oh,
even more
absolutely.
so than the
Yeah.
sacrals because it gets stuck in that sacral. And then
100%.
you gotta, that's a good way, I feel like, for all of us just as humans to release that energy and come back into flow. I feel like that's what dancing does. It'll bring you back into your flow. And so you can flow with the movement of Mother Gaia, really.
Yeah. I always think of Grey's Anatomy when Christina and Meredith used to do all those dance parties. I don't know if anybody watched Grey's, but
It's been a
they
long
used to,
time.
it's been a long time. They used to
Is
have
that
just
show
dance
still
parties.
on?
I think so. I don't watch it anymore, but
Like, because I
I think
keep
so.
thinking it's gonna go off, and then I find out that no, it's still on, and I'm like,
It's
really?
still happening.
Didn't it start when we were like in high school
College, I
or early
believe.
or first year of college? Yeah, so
Yeah.
I was like, it
Yeah.
it's been on like the majority of my life, I feel like.
Right. It has, yeah. But they were always the ones that like they had a bad day, they're like, let's just dance it out. They would
Yeah.
dance it out and they get all funky, they get all the funk out. It helps to move and shake it out. I don't know. Like there's
Well, if
something
you
about
look,
it's a lot of root too. Like you're clearing out that root energy
well, if you
to
look at animals, animals is a good way to kind of see this representation of movement and getting out that stagnant, stuck energy, because that's all that's it's just energy that's stuck. And so if you notice animals that like they get into some sort of like fight or flight with something in their environment or with each other, they fight each other. If you notice afterwards, they'll do this weird little shaking thing to
mm-hmm.
their body and then they move on. And they just go. They just go. All I had to do was just shake it out a little bit and then they're good. They're like, we don't need to hold on to that. We don't hold on to that shit. We don't associate with our mind because then the mind holds on to that stuck pattern or whatever. They just shake it out and they move on with their lives. It
Yep.
doesn't bother them anymore.
We can do that.
We could take a lesson from them. I really nature is really, really, if we just watch nature, and I said this, I don't know, last one or the one before that, if we just watch nature, we would learn how to be more in tune with ourselves on a
Mm-hmm.
deeper level because they got it right. It's us that can't get it right because we've forgotten.
We get stuck here.
Yeah. comes back to the mental. And it's going to feel like that a lot, I think, this next month with all the mental activity that we're having between being in Aquarius season, North Node in the returning, and then the gate of opinions, expanding that energy out with Jupiter. So, find ways to get out of your mind this week. And especially this next month, but we'll get more into that in the February program plus on how to do that. So I guess that's all that she wrote this week.
Yeah.
And
Ooh, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, leave us a review so we can reach more people.
yeah, let us know if you're on YouTube. What did you get from this episode? Or did you try any of this stuff out? And did anything come up for you throughout the week? Come back to the episode and comment. Sometimes, you're watching this and then you like go on with your week, but then stuff comes up that we've talked about. Come back and tell us. We'd love to hear about it. And you want to go deeper, join us in the cosmic community and we'll have real conversations there about this stuff. So make the most of your week, have some reflection time, do some journaling. Great week to do some journaling with the earth supporting that place in us. And we'll see you over on the next one.
I'll see ya.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Krystle and I are really here as defined hearts to provide value to you with our unique insights. If you have found any of this episode valuable to you, we ask that you share with a friend, tag us with a highlight on Instagram, and write us a review so we can reach more people. Human design and astrology are tools to guide us toward our transformation. You are a unique and beautiful being, and we encourage you to let that light inside of you shine bright. See you in the next episode, friends.